everyone. My name is Adetola Akombiemu, and we're going to be taking our second lesson. And the topic is characteristics, function, and uses of computer. In our first lesson, we talked about what a computer is. We also looked at the concepts that are being used in defining the word computer. We looked at how computer has evolved from the first generation up to this present moment. So, in this lesson, we'll be looking at the characteristics of a computer, the functions, and the uses of a computer. This lesson is also going to be a wonderful one. I just want you to follow me every step of the way.
Good day once again. My name is Adetola Akombiemu, and we're going to be looking at this topic for our second lesson: characteristics, functions, and uses of computers. What are the objectives of a lesson? By the end of this lesson, there are certain things that you must have learned. You must have been able to discuss the characteristics of computers, explain the functions of computers, and describe the uses of computers. One of the characteristics of computers is speed. Computer processes data at a very high speed. The way a computer processes data is very fast, is at the rate of millions of instructions per second. An example is the use of calculators. By the time you want to add large figures together, in seconds you get the result. So the speed at which a computer will bring results is even faster than the human brain. There's a limit to how much we can calculate with our head, but the computer can make processing of information and data very fast. So speed is one of the characteristics of a computer. Characteristics of a computer is accuracy. A computer has a high degree of accuracy when calculating or processing data. We just talked about the example of a calculator of a smartphone. The amount of calculation that a calculator will make will be more accurate than if you sit down and you begin to do the hundred, tens, and unit kind of calculation. So a computer is more accurate. What you put in the computer is what you get back. It is garbage in, garbage out. And then we can also be sure that the kind of calculations that computers perform, they're usually without error. It is 100% accurate. Even if there will be error, this error will be due to the fact that the data was inconsistent or the data imputed was wrong. It will actually be error from the human part, or okay, like it's written here by the computer administrator. So accuracy is one of the characteristics of other characteristics is diligence. Computer never gets tired. You know, it doesn't, even if for a computer to get tired, it must have been overworked. But a computer will still work more than a human will work. The way a human being will work and get tired is not the same way the computer will. A computer can perform all the tasks or work you give to it. As long as you keep asking the computer to do it, it keeps doing it. And the speed and accuracy in which the computer uses in doing the first task is what is still used to perform all the tasks. So computer is diligent. It doesn't lack concentration and it functions perfectly well. Unlike a human being that will complain of no money, complain of hunger, complain of tiredness, complain of headache, a computer is diligent. Versatility is another characteristic. A computer can perform different tasks, different works with the same speed and time. You can use a computer to type a letter. You can use a computer to do your PowerPoint presentation. You can use a computer to browse the internet. You can use a computer to play games. The computer can do loads and loads of things with the same accuracy and speed. A computer is actually a device that you can trust, if you would agree with me. Computer is reliable. That's reliability is another characteristics of a computer. A computer is reliable as you can be sure that the result that a computer gives you is correct and consistent. If you pick a calculator on your computer and you type 1 plus 1, it will be 2. If you keep typing 1 plus 1 over and over again, it will continue to be 2. That is reliability. If you give the same set of inputs 1 million times, you get the same result. Even without manual intervention, the computer will perform its task very well and will not make mistakes, unlike human beings. Another characteristic of a computer is a computer has a large storage capacity. A computer has a memory where it stores data and stores information by its users. There's an amount of memory in the computer that is inbuilt, and this information can be retrieved at any time the user wants it. The computer has a primary memory where it stores data for its present and future use. It also has a secondary memory which is not inbuilt. Usually secondary storage devices are usually plugged. They are removable devices. You have your modem, you have your flash drive, we have the USB, we have the memory card. Those are secondary devices, external hard disk, external hard drive. Those are the devices that you can connect to your computer to store information. A lot of computers, some computers do not have large storage device and large storage capacity, pardon me. And that is why there's usually a need for secondary storage device. Another advantage of a secondary storage device is wherever you go, you can have it with you. A lot of us have our flash drives. When we have our documents, we still want to back it up in our flash drive. So that's one of the characteristics of a computer. The functions of computer. One of the functions of a computer is a computer can input data. Now, data input is one of the most basic functions of a computer. You see, this is the way a computer works. Input, process, output. Input is the first part. Now, when you input a data into a computer, it allows you to give the computer an information. And for you to be able to give the computer an information, you need some device. You need the USB. You need the mouse. You also need your keyboard. Your keyboard and your mouse, they are the ones that will guide you in entering information, in imputing data into your computer. Another function of computer is to process data. Remember that I mentioned earlier that a computer inputs, processes, and outputs. So the second function is to process data. Everything that has been imputed in the data processes is being processed. By the time processing is going on, you're telling the computer to turn that data into information. And that part of the computer that turns data into the information is the CPU, the central processing unit. It serves as the brain of the computer. That is where you can manipulate data, you can arrange it, you can control it, you can ensure that whatever comes out of it is accurate. Now, the third part is by displaying information using output devices. You've used that your keyboard and your mouse to input data. You've told the computer, hey, I want you to calculate the amount of time it will take me to travel from here to Kenya. How many hours it is it? By the time you do that, the central processing unit, it processes it and it displays the information using the output device. The output device is where you can see your information, the result of the input being displayed. For example, monitor. So you see it on your monitor. If you want to have a copy, you slot in your printer, you connect it to your printer, and then you print it out. Oh, it's a music. You connect your speaker, you listen to it. So those are the basic functions of a computer. Now, other things that computer can do is to store data, to store information. And there are two major types of memory. We have the random access memory and we have the read-only memory, RAM and ROM. You see, RAM is a temporary storage. What RAM does is that it just stores data on the computer. The kind of data that is being stored on the RAM is the kind of data that the computer processes. For example, you're typing an MS Word document, you're saving it, click this, click that. By the time you shut down the computer, the point you stop is where the computer will store the information up to. But you have the ROM, which is the permanent storage. That is the data that is saved that helps you in booting the computer because of the programming data that it contains. You understand? And that information stored in the ROM cannot be changed. Now, our first class activity. Why and how does a computer store data and information? I mean, why should a computer even store data in the first place? Okay, I'll help you to answer it. I'll give you a clue. Let me ask you another question. Why and how do you store your dresses? For me, I store my dresses for present and future use, and I store them in my box and my wardrobe. Yes, you should clap. You should clap for me. Now, this will give you an insight to how, why, and how a computer stores data and information. So I'll give you some time to answer that. Uses of computer. Now, you see, computers are standalone applications. They can be used as standalone applications. That is, they are not connected to the internet, but they can be used to, to perform some certain tasks or activities. Like you can type your documents, you can draw, you can play music, you can play games, you can watch videos, you can do lots of things. Just a standalone. You can also have internet applications on the computer. We have the use of browser. We have Google browser, Firefox, and all of that. These browsers help help to access the internet, whereby you can send emails. You can do some researches. You can do some database searches. You can search for information. You can carry out transactions. You can study online like you're doing now. They are internet applications. So those are the use. And apart from that, there are some applications that are embedded. Now, embedded applications are applications that makes use of a kind of a processor. The processing unit of the device is not going to be, it's not the central processor, it's not the CPU that we see. It's a kind of device that can also be embedded in another device. For example, we have the GPS. Now, this GPS is what uses satellite data to provide location. There's a lot of times that you can be tracked even with your phone. Google can track your location. If you use Zender very well, when you want to transfer files, it will ask you to put on your location. There is a GPS device. It is a GPS device that tracks location. We also have the use of robots. Robots are computers. You just tell the robot, hey robot, they are built, they are being built to do the things that human beings cannot do. When you go to some big companies, you find out that is these robots, they are the ones that um pack pack the food. For example, like Indomie, they are machines, they are robots, they are machines. And that is why there's consistency. You understand? Because one person cannot be sealing up cartons of Indomie. The person will get tired. So there's a processor, there's an embedded application in that robot that helps it to work. We also have smart cards. Smart cards carry a chip that saves all our data. We have the SIM card, we have our identity card, we have our debit card. We also have some devices that are self-diagnostic. For example, digital blood pressure checker, digital blood sugar levels checker. All these are still the uses of. Now, we have our second class activity. What functions can computer play in information acquisition, processing, and storage in a library? Remember that as a library and information scientist or professional, it's important that whatever we learn here is being able to work or empower our skill as a library and information scientist. So how can computers help us in acquiring, in processing, and storage in library? So I'll leave you to answer that on your own. Today, we have come to the end of today's lesson, but let us look at the things that we have learned. We learned that the characteristics of computers are speed, accuracy, reliability, stores data, and information. And we also learned that computers can carry out tasks diligently without mistake and cannot get tired like you and me. And then we also discussed that the functions of a computer includes imputing, accepting, processing, and displaying of the information. We also learned that computers are used in three categories. I just explained the embedded applications, the standalone, and the internet application. Yes, so this is an interesting lesson, and I hope you enjoyed it because I enjoyed it. So, in our next lesson, we'll be discussing the components of a computer. Thank you for listening. It is bye from me to you Adetola Akombiemu.